Hey pilots, I've got an interesting video for you today. Be curious. I'm I'm curious about the systems and mechanics of warplanes, and this was a match where my curiosity led me to do something very unusual in how I handled the match, especially given my opponent and the way my opponent was playing. And so I wanted to walk you through this battle very quickly. It's probably not the greatest in terms of shoot downs and specifics like my last video, but in terms of the grand strategic scale of the game, this is where it gets interesting to me, especially with the population level as it is, and especially with some of the secondary objectives going on right now as we wrap up the last, 9 days. I think we got 9 days left of the holiday maneuvers here. So I've got a battle here in my SU-9. This one's called Road to Rome. But there's the one command center over here, calls in bombers. There's an airfield in the center, and there's two regular garrisons on the other side where the enemy spawn point is. And so, of course, standard procedure, you kind of want to grab this this bad boy first, and I'm going to do that with the SU-9 here. I'm doing something a little different with my SU-9, and I'll go over it at the end of the battle when we're back in the hangar, but keep watching and see if you can tell what it is that's different about my SU-9 here. This is about as good as you can get with maneuverability with the SU-9, by the way, without specializing it. I've got all maneuver gear on it, including a G-suit, and because of the yaw rate on this thing, you can pull off some pretty ridiculous maneuvers like that one right there, very tight spiral. And we've got the command center just like that. Now, my opponent on the other team is in a Spitfire 14 that is specialized. And I know there's no way, even though I can do some spiffy stuff with the SU-9 and maneuver build, there's no way to be able to handle him. And I've got my head on a swivel because I'm like, why is he not here yet? I assumed he would go here directly, right? But he didn't. He stopped to capture the garrison first. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to try and take down, get some points in our favor if I can sneak the airfield out from under him, even for a little bit. That'll certainly help my game. So I'm going to clear out some damaged light aircraft there, and then I see him. I'm like, all right, let's get him. And I start to turn to take the aircraft, but I realize it's a bad idea. If I turn and follow the light air defense aircraft, I put him on my 6, which is not the place where I want him to be. And so I turn and go head on with him. And interestingly, it looks at first like he's going head on with me, and I don't think he was. He and I chat during the match. You can kind of see a little bit of it under the keyboard there, but he actually dips down when he sees me coming in, which is an interesting choice to go head to head with an SU-9. Although, he's probably thinking sniper build. We're up close. Maybe I can win this. And the Spitfire's no slouch. It's 14 with the 4 cannons on it, right? But we go back and forth, and I lose my engine. So it's like, okay, well, now I've got to turn and fight, and I'm going to do everything I can. Watch this very, very tight maneuver. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to spin it and use the rudder and try and get it down and get around in time to come after him. And I didn't even use the pneumatic control assist, right? I had already kicked the boost because I was going to fly away before I lost the engine. So I was like, oh no. And here we go. We're going to head on again. A second time. Why not? This time I've got the pneumatic assist, and I'm like, I got this. And then for some reason he turns away. I don't know if he thought I was going to burn out. Maybe he saw the busted engine and thought he had me. Or maybe he thought I was a little further away, or maybe he thought I was going to turn and extend, which again would be the smart move. So he says something about it in chat, like he couldn't believe, right? Like, wow, what just happened? And so I just told him, I was like, man, you went head to head with me, right? Like, that's crazy. And he's like, I didn't do that. So we were having fun throughout the match, kind of chatting back and forth with each other. He was a good guy, and we had fun with this. This is one of the joys of the game, by the way, is having fun with other pilots when you can not be snarky, right, and leave your passive aggressive and leave your accusations at home and just play the game and find someone who's also there to have a little bit of fun. And it really makes everything 10 times more enjoyable. It really does. So now I'm in a bit of a pickle because I'm like, well, I can't steal the airfrail from this guy, Bottom line, I don't think I can beat a Spitfire 14. I'm not quite fast enough to stay out of his range, I don't think. I am faster than him, but, he can always chase me. And he's certainly going to outmaneuver me if I come in there, especially without support. And as you can see on the map, I don't have a lot going on for me right now in terms of other bots still already in the field. And also, we've almost won the field. So, and I know there's, bombers up there, so I'm going to stay out of it. Maybe the bots capture it for me. We'll see where it goes. Instead, I'm going to hang on to the command center for a second, make sure that we retain that, because if we lose that and he starts getting bombers inbound, it's going to be a real pain. Because the other issue is getting over to the other two, facilities there, the other two garrisons. But I decide he's distracted. I'm going to try and get in, and of course, he beams one of the two guys that's over here. It's sort of the reverse of what happened with Kame in my last video. And then, of course, the bot becomes, as slippery as humanly possible, and both my guys have been wiped out, right? Now, I do have a multi-roll off to my right there, but he's not paying attention, even though I've called for help. The guys that responded to my call for help are now both dead. So I'm in a pickle. I've put myself in a pickle. Look at all the red on the mini-map down there, right? This is the exact opposite. I'm in the wrong spot at the wrong time. This is not a good place for me to be in. But sometimes you bite off more than you can chew, and sometimes it does work out for you. So I'm like, all right, well, we're going to do it again. And again, there's sort of a brushing pass here. I'm trying to get guns on him, and I just can't get enough. I can't get enough DPS out of these guns. So I'm going to pneumatic assist again. I'm going to spiral. I'm going to let him go overhead. I'm trying to get as close to ground as possible. And watch this. This is the kick over that you can do with the crazy yaw rate. But unfortunately, he's used his pneumatic assist as well, and Spitfires are just, they're a little overpowered. The reality is they're a hybrid aircraft like the LA line, but their turn rate is too good to be a hybrid line. It's either this. Either their turn rate's too good to be a hybrid line, or their speed is too good to be a turn fighter. It's one of the two, right? They're just a little overpowered in that 1v1 combat, and especially in terms of map control, which is why the 14 is so popular at Tier 8 for people to specialize. But I got a problem at this point. Like, I can't win in the middle. It's just not happening, right? I'm going to put myself in another bad position again. And I start to have a thought. I have the inkling of a thought in my head. I'm curious. My curiosity is, I'm probably going to get 8,000 points out of this. I feel pretty confident about that. So I'm going to get candy. I've got some other missions, whatever. And I'd like to win, but, I'm just wondering, how do I win this? Do I fly all the way to the other side of the map? Because it's just a 1v1 in terms of players. I may lose this command center if I do that. And what have I really gained? I've traded a command center for a garrison. That's not helpful or smart, right? So I decide, what if I squat on the command center? He's staying to the airfield. He hasn't come over here at all the entire time we've been in the match, right? What if I just stay on the command center and he stays on the airfield? What would the outcome be? And I'm looking at this going, well, I couldn't be in a better place to test this than I am now, because I'm down 3 zones to 1, right? He's just capped the airfield. He's got the 2 garrisons. Okay, I'm going to sit here on the command center, and that's all we're going to do. We're just going to intercept aircraft coming in and see where we go. Now, if you're watching the chat again, he's like, I can't believe you tried to turn with me, which is absolutely correct, right? And what happened is I thought I had lost an engine again. And but I lost a wing. So when I healed over thinking it was my only choice, what I really did is put myself in an even worse of a pickle, because, I had a busted wing at that point. So even with the pneumatic assist, it was, not the right move to make. It was, I was not paying as much attention as I should have been. And I don't remember, this was one of my last games I played for the night. I get tired, y'all. I'm old. When that clock starts to tick in later in the hours and you get into smaller population matches like this, I start to lose a little of my wits, I think. But anyway, I've got 2 planes here now. We're going to bust them up, and that'll let us hold on to the command center here. Up, watch the rudder over. I'm going to do it again. Just going to pull. All right, as hard as we can. Nose up in the turn. And clear that. And then I hear the announcer's voice saying, squall line's coming. I'm like, this is great, because I've just killed these ground attacks, right? The center portion, the highest capture point building, is already knocked over here, so it's going to be hard for ground pounders to take it. It's going to be a dogfight, right? I'm just going to be dealing with bots coming in one at a time. Maybe I can clip enough guys to make this happen. And also, in the meantime, by the way, the last 60 seconds as we've been chatting about this, look, both the garrisons have flipped, right? My command center has done what it's supposed to do. And now all of a sudden I'm up 3 zones to 1, even though I'm behind 100 points. That's pretty cool. This is one of the weaknesses of the SU-9, by the way, is the secondary gun should have maybe just 1 second extra of gun time. It's just not enough DPS to really get the job done in a lot of cases. So squall line is here, and I should have probably held off a second before I cleared out that arrow, but I hit him at the buzzer, and I don't think it was quite in time to do that. But this is for real now. You're on our last life, right? And again, I'm still ticking up 9 points every 5 seconds to his 3 points every 5 seconds. And now he's down a bomber. So he has less of a chance to retake those 3 zones with his bots. He's got to come out of the middle and play, either with me or with the bots on the other side. Now, if he leaves to go to the garrisons, I'll swoop in the airbase. I'm trying to keep an eye on the map, right? Because that might be my best bet for winning this game is to take over that airfield, especially with a half down. So if he leaves, I'm grabbing it. But he's not going to leave. I don't know if he knows that, right? If he's thinking in the back of his head, I can take this, or if he's just playing for personal points or what. I didn't really ask him in the back and forth that we've had. But I've flipped the script now. Instead of having to go into the airfield and win, he has to come to me if he wants to win, right? Same sort of thing before. And I've never thought about that in terms of this map before. I've always thought, well, you got to take the airfield. That's the only way to win. I didn't think about, well, you really just have to take command center, and that could be a way to win. And maybe with more players, if this was a 2v2 or 3v3 or whatever else, this strategy is not viable. But I know it's just one player versus one player, and he's got to make some decisions at this point. So I'm gonna hang out here. I'm gonna wait and see who comes up. And you can see the ticker up the top. I'm only 15 points behind now, and now I'm only 10 points behind, 9 points behind, right? So it's gonna flip over in a second here, and I'm gonna take the lead. I don't know if he's noticed that or not, but also because I've been snipping planes and planes been coming out from the airfield into the zones that they need to capture, there's only a handful of his guys left, and they're all concentrated in the airfield. So I'm not going in there. It's not happening. I've got my 8,000 points. I'm getting a candy. I'm good. The only thing I'm wondering at this point is, can I flip that last zone on him? And I'm thinking, man, those personal points are low. And so I'm going to sneak, and this is one of the things I do like about this map. I don't like the setup of the zones because it's a little irritating at times. In many of the configurations, but I love the verticality of this map, right? I love having the cliffs here, the up and down. Some of you played in 1.x, remember the map with the dam on it? I don't remember the name of it. You remember the name of the map with the dam? If so, put it in the comments. That was fun. There was this 2-tier element up and down, and you get a little bit of that here. So I decided to sneak over under the cliffs, zap a low health ADA. Unfortunately, in the meantime, one of my aircraft goes down, and then as I dive away, another one goes down, and then he sees me. So now I've got him on my tail along with another bot plane. And this is the time to put the Su-9's twin jet engines to work and long boost time, which I've been holding on to. So I power out and go away, and he's realized he's got to kill me if he wants to win, right? And at this point, it doesn't even matter. It's too late. So he needed to see that a little in advance. But he said good game. I said good game because it is. It's one of those rare opportunities where it really is a good game by both sides. We both had fun playing it. There was a little PvP dueling action in there. There was also a strategic element to the game. This is Warplanes at its finest. It was a very fun match. So, and I got 10K points. So I'm happy. Good times. He also got 14K, so he got a candy even though I got a loss out of it. So, he seemed happy too. We ended up adding each other's to contacts, I think. So Idric, good match, my man. It was a lot of fun tussling with you on the road to Rome. So post-game results a little bit, just briefly, and I'll show you my setup on the Su-9. I've got 12 downs in this one. I got the tokens, yay. I got shot down twice, but one time by Eric. One time it was an air defense aircraft, but the reality is he's the one that tore me up before the ADA got me, so I'll give him props for that as well. And I did a little bit of progress. This is the other reason I wasn't worried too much about it. I think one of my missions, the above the sky one, was to score more points than anybody else in my team or something like that, or be in the top 3 or whatever. And it does not count bots, by the way. When you have daily missions, it only counts live actual players. So I knew I was fulfilling, checking that box as well, getting me where I needed to be. So he put up a hell of a match. He did great as well. He shot down 16, died twice, once to me, once to a bot LA9, which is a great foil, right, for the Spitfire line, and it was a lot of fun, and I learned something. I learned something I did not know. I learned to value that command center, and to really rock with it on that map, and say, well, this is going to be it. Come out and get me, right? If this is important to you, come get me. Come into my territory, and let's tussle over here rather than tussling over there. It worked out pretty good. So for those of you who have been paying keen attention to my setup, you noticed immediately I'm not running the 45 millimeter. I mentioned in my last video of the Su-9, I was looking to unlock it and try it out. I'm just not that good with the sniper gameplay. And I don't know if that gets better as you go further up this line, but it's something I've always struggled with. I struggle with it, the TA-152 and some of the others. For whatever reason, at lower tiers, I tend to be better with Sniper or the LA3 or Lag 334. I enjoy playing, but this one I didn't. And part of it's just the DPS is abysmal, right? So I moved back down to the 37 millimeter. I'm much more comfortable here. This setup runs a lot like the P39s at tier 6 with a 37 and 223s. Those is a 37 and 250s. Yeah, the US one has some extra small caliber machine guns, but you got a nose 37 and a couple of 23s here. So that's fine for me. That knocks people down pretty quickly. You saw me tear through those ILs with conviction earlier on, so that's okay with me. And I played with the bombs for a while as well, but man, it bleeds so much of your speed, and it feels like you lose a lot of that controllability on the aircraft, and you really have a hard time making your escape. And these two bombs are good, but it's a 180-second reload. It takes forever. So to me, it's just not worth it to carry them. You may have a different play style, and I'd love to hear about that. How do you make it work if you do run the 45 and the bombs? What is your strategy for that? Because that's another thing I'm curious about that I'd like to learn a little more going into. So as for setup itself, I mentioned I'm on a full maneuver build. So I've got the G suit, I've got lightweight wing, and I've got lightweight power plant. And the reason I have the G suit is your maximum optimal speed in this is actually like in the mid 500s, and you get there pretty fast with this twin engine thrust setup. So it makes a lot of sense to put that on there. Now I really would like to have this. I may burn a token to upgrade this and get the little more maneuverability and the accuracy against moving targets. But this is kind of how I want to set up my I-260 as well when I get it going and off the ground, which I will play a little more in the future. I think that plane has potential. I know it's not a good one, but y'all know me at this point. I like the planes that are not the top of the shelf. I like the ones that have a little bit of personality to them, and the I-260 definitely has that. So anyway, it's a pure maneuver build. It's just a very simple, usually when I'm running tech tree aircraft, I do not put any kind of specialized equipment on them at all. I just kind of run stock equipment and keep the tokens for other things. I'm trying to specialize my tier 10 aircraft. I need to, a lot of these need to be able to have them specialized to be competitive at tier 10. And so I've actually burned a good number of tokens over the last week here with some of the tier 10s I bought, converting them to specialized. And I need some help with that too. So if you're a pro on tier 10, that's the tier I have not played as much outside of, doing clan wars and tournament stuff in 1.x. So I'm not sure, meta-wise, what kind of gear to be putting on my tier 10 aircraft. So if you got some insight into that, I'd love to hear it. I'm going to ask on the Discord and forums as well and see what people give me. But I want to play around with some things there. But for now, there it is. And my pilot, I have Marksman 2, a big must-have, I feel like, with these rather inaccurate guns, these big cannons, to have that accuracy against moving targets, or what is known as auto-aim in the actual under-the-hood mechanics that you can see on websites like GameModels3D.com. So it's a fun plane. I've enjoyed it now that I've kind of got it set up and configured the way I want it. And I'm excited for it to be something I continue to grind out here, because I think I'm about halfway through it. So hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed the new perspective that I uncovered on Rome, and let me know if you've had any success with that, just sticking to the command center and seeing how that goes, making people run around, maybe make them play to your tune rather than you playing to theirs on that map. I think it's very interesting. I'm going to try it again in multiple person battles, maybe taking a flight mate and see how that works, just because I'm curious about it, and I want to know the strategy and tactics of the game. So hope you enjoyed it. I'll have some more videos coming out later this week. I've got some pretty good recordings from this weekend that I want to share with you guys, and I'll be doing that as the week progresses. So until then, good luck, good hunting. Grab as much candy as you can, get as many goodies as you can. Hope you had a chance to buy some new toys over the weekend with the sale, and I hope to see you in the skies in World of Warplanes.